In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of your real media product? In my trailer, I've used a similar narrative from the movie Taken, in which the protagonist's daughter gets taken, and he does whatever he can to get her back. This is a typical plot, as I'll explain by using Todor's theory. His theory was there's a start, like there's equilibrium where everything's peaceful and normal, just normal day-to-day life. But then there's a disruption where something that will disrupt the happiness and will affect the normal day-to-day life. Then it moves on to the realization, is when everyone realizes the problem and it's chaos and everything goes bad. Then there's the attempt to repair, where all the characters or main character and some helpers try to repair the damage and restore the problem, and once they've done that, they get the new equilibrium, and that's Todorov's theory. And that's what happens in Taken as well, as everything's normal, then daughter gets taken, he goes there, gets her back, everything's cool, everything ends happy. And that's what I did in Mind, but my story was a bit different, where my protagonist is framed for killing his own parents, and then his friend gets kidnapped, in which he has to try and get her back, and to clear her name as well, he has to find the antagonist. This is a conventional narrative, as it's shown in some form of revenge, and that's what is shown in most thriller movies. That's just the typical plot, like, for example, Max Payne, The Italian Job, Equalizer, and many more, which consist of many themes such as violence, drugs, gang, and crime. In my narrative, I've shown these themes as violence was shown in the montage where the fighting took place. I've also shown typical iconography by showing a gun, a pistol, which I used, which I must have shown, I think, in 2-3 scenes, and also the torture scene where we see all the tools laid out on the table. These are typical iconography features, I think. Yeah, iconography features that you'll find in thriller movies, as they are related to violence and crime. So yeah, I've used the typical genre conventions, such as setting the location in the city, which gives them more suspense, as a lot of things can go wrong in the city. Also, coming back to Todorov's theory, I've shown everything apart from the new equilibrium, as if I've shown the new equilibrium, that will give away my plot, and obviously the audience will know what it is and probably not be interested in watching the movie because they know what's going to happen. But this allows to create an enigma in the trailer, as we see some fast-paced action and fighting, kidnapping going on at the end, and the protagonist is held at gunpoint at the end when the screen blacks out and there's a gunshot we hear, so we don't know if he's actually dead or not. So that creates enigma. That relates to Bartha's Enigma Code, one of its theories. Basically, leaving a mystery for the audience to find out, and for them to find out, they'll have to watch the movie. That's how all the audience are brought together. Also, another mystery / enigma I've created is the antagonist. In my trailer, we don't see clearly who the antagonist is, as in one scene we don't see his face, and right at the end, we don't actually know who's holding the gun at the end. We don't know that. We'll have to watch the whole movie to find out. Moreover, I've used conventional props such as a gun, which I've took off the idea of my textual analysis when I analysed two trailers, Inception and Jason Bourne, in which they both contained weapons such as a gun, like the handgun, the pistol, and obviously the gun gives the character an upper hand at making them making the scene more tense, as it's a lethal weapon and can be used to kill people, obviously, which automatically gives the antagonist power, which I've shown in my last shot, obviously, by using a point of view shot of the gun directly faced at the camera of the handgun. Other props I've used is some tools in the torture scene, as I mentioned earlier. Again, I think if you in Taken may show the torture as well when the guy gets electrocuted. It's a bit similar, but obviously he did it with less tools, and I did with tools. Also, I've used conventional locations in my trailer, such as thriller movies are normally set in cities as urban areas, as I said before. I've shown this in the start of my trailer, as there's an establishing shot of the city and the college. In the montage, we see the action take place in some sort of warehouse, which again is common in thriller movies. This gives an effect to the audience in a sense of action, as the effect of an establishing shot is it acknowledges the audience of where it's set, and obviously they'll know what normal city life is and stuff like that. And also, when I mean by urban locations, I mean by like normal, like inner city, like industrial areas, or just like council estates and something like that. But I've not included council estates in my trailer, which I could have actually to make it more tense. But yeah. Also, I've changed the use of the characters, as in a typical thriller movie, you will see a protagonist to be a Caucasian from a Caucasian ethnicity. For example, obviously, again linking back to the Taken movie, Liam Neeson, and then from the movie Max Payne we have Mark Wahlberg, and etc. But in my trailer, I've used an Asian to be the protagonist. Moreover, my main character seems to be wearing clothes and that look like a drug dealer, which I've slightly developed, as in common thriller movies, we see the protagonist either to be smart or wearing normal day-to-day casual clothes, which I've developed as my character's quite young, whereas if you see obviously like Taken or Italian Job, or the characters tend to be in their late 20s going to the 30s. In this, my character looked like he's still a teenager. And this moves on to representation. So how I've represented my characters? Well, obviously I've definitely challenged the characters, because my antagonist, obviously, he doesn't really look that formal or anything. As normal thriller movies, we see them to be formal, whereas in mine it's not formal at all. Also, coming back to my main protagonist, again, he's Asian, and we don't normally see Asian people acting in big thriller movies a lot. It's mainly because people actually think that, well, we're just so used to seeing Caucasian people or people from a white ethnicity acting. But yeah, moving on. I also took an idea from my textual analysis of using non-diegetic narration, which is again common in most thriller movies, as this builds tension as well as making the plot clear for the audience to understand. I've also used this to clear the understanding to the audience for my trailer, because I didn't have any captions, because I thought it would kill the tension to include captions, so that's why I did a voiceover.
People want what you have. And do anything to take it.
So the audience knows what's going on. I've also used non-diegetic music in the background, as it again builds the atmosphere, as the music's dramatic and builds up tension of the trailer, and at the end the music changes and suits the environment.
They framed me. They took my friend. They destroyed me.
Yeah, obviously it has a small crescendo, as many other thriller movies do have a crescendo and dramatic music, as it doesn't break the tension of the trailer and suits the genre. I've also added diegetic sound effects so you can hear the punches at the end in the fight scene, so it draws the audience attention and doesn't make it look fake. However, I've also left diegetic sounds of feet movement, which, as it makes the fight sounds more realistic, and the audience with a make it more realistic. Okay, I haven't used any captions as I felt it didn't go along with my trailer and didn't flow as my voiceover did the job, as I mentioned earlier. But I did add institutional intro, which acknowledges the audience, who the production company is, and is at the end of my trailer. I've added the billing block, which consists of all the institutional information along with the date, which I have put coming soon, as it will make the audience feel more will intrigue the audience to find out more information about the movie. Also, I've used a common institution production company such as Warner Brothers and Signcop. I think that's how you say it, but yeah, they normally produce thriller movies as well. Well, movies such as Inception, Focus, Mad Max is one. Don't think it links to this, but The Dark Knight does, because that's a thriller one as well. And yeah, like Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, many more famous ones. And yeah, obviously the audience know who Warner Brothers are and know the quality movies they produce or they back, which obviously would help my trailer, as they'll feel it should be a blockbuster hit, because Warner Brothers movies are normally blockbuster hits. Also, coming back to the point of, I forgot to mention about binary opposites. Well, in this, my trailer, we obviously see good vs bad. I think it's mainly there's young people in there, but I think good and evil, obviously. And that's the only thing really shown from binary opposites. Now moving on to the poster. In my poster, I followed some of the conventions in my textual analysis of the poster Jason Bourne Legacy. As the main image is a medium shot of the protagonist and is not looking directly at us, which obviously doesn't give away what it is, makes us think, what is he actually looking at? Moving on, I've used the prop of the gun, like the pistol, as used in Jason Bourne poster, as I thought it really goes along well with the masthead and slogan, as it shows it's a thriller movies and guns are obviously conventional in thriller movies, obviously linked to thriller movies as props. My main image has a contrast background as it goes from black to white, as my main character is sitting in the middle looking towards the light, showing that he is victimized and is looking ways to reach the light. I have used the plane crash font typography for my masthead, as it looks more appealing, and sans serif font, which shows simplicity, and as the font is in red, it relates to the genre, as thriller movies contain blood, and red obviously connotes blood. Obviously, another poster which would match is Taken, as I said before, has red writing, obviously showing blood with backdrop. Yeah, that's one I can think of right now. Also, I've added the selling line at the top, which is obviously the ratings, which will help, obviously, like the ratings out from The Guardian and The Empire, and showing it's 5 stars. I've challenged the idea of having actors' name at the top by replacing it, obviously, with selling lines, as I felt the actor's name didn't go along with the poster, it didn't flow along, so that's why I replaced it with the selling line. I've used an idea from the Jason Bourne, I followed the convention theory from Jason Bourne poster. Obviously by placing the billing block and release date under the main masthead, obviously it's away from the image and looks more appealing. Furthermore, I've placed my slogan just above the masthead as I thought it would look more appealing, as normally we see slogans either near the top of the poster or just under the masthead, and it's in white font so it stands out from the background. Obviously I could also say that white does show innocence, so when it's like obviously the slogan says it's all over, but obviously the white could show there may be a chance of hope or something. And yeah, that's what I've done for my poster. Okay, so for my magazine, obviously, I kept it really simple. I actually followed most of the conventions of an Empire magazine, as you can see both of them look really similar. I kept the same masthead, the same colour, also kept the price between the M. The main image I might have developed a bit. What I did was actually use a close-up, whereas normally they would use medium shots or medium long shot, maybe even a medium close-up. But I used a close-up to emphasize the facial expressions, and also I added the gun at the side to show that it's still a thriller movie, because guns again are represented in, well, are shown in thriller movies.